Hi everybody, my name is Hannah, this is Pepper and Pine, and I have a recipe tutorial to share with you today. We're going to be making some ground lamb. To begin with, I have 1 onion. I'm going to slice it up. Now this is an addition to the recipe because the original recipe actually calls for a rack of lamb or even lamb shoulder that you can bake in the oven. Since I didn't have that on hand today, but you can still find the original recipe on the blog post that accompanies this video, I'm going to be using some ground lamb instead, and so I'm going to be sauteing 1 onion for that. I'm going to use the same spices that the recipe calls for, so I'm going to add about 2 teaspoons of coriander and 2 teaspoons of cumin seeds, and I'm using this really large mortar and pestle in order to grind up our seeds because these are the whole seeds, and it gives off this really nice aroma, and we're actually going to get even more flavor because we're going to put it on the stove with the onions and let it just kind of warm up and saute with the onions. So this makes a really aromatic dish. So those onions aren't quite ready, but I'm going to add the spices to it. I would recommend sauteing your onions until they were brown before adding your spices because they're going to brown really quickly. Your spices are going to release their aromas very quickly, and we don't want to burn them. While they are sauteing with the onions, I'm going to work on the meat. For this recipe, I am using 2 pounds of ground lamb, and I'm just kind of breaking up the pieces so that the texture is a little better. I'm adding just a little bit of water to help break up that texture. And now we're going to add it to our onions, which have just cooked a little bit more, but they aren't brown, which they're not going to get brown once you add your meat to your pan. So if you want your onions to be more brown, you have to do that before you add your meat. To this, I'm going to add about 1 to 2 teaspoons of allspice and salt and pepper. I'm going to cook this on medium to medium-high heat, and it takes about 10 minutes. Now you can see at this point that the meat is done, but there's still a lot of liquid left behind. We don't want to drain that because that's full of flavor, so I'm going to let it cook just a little bit more. Now it's time to plate this dish. It is super delicious, and it accompanies a variety of rice dishes. You can find the recipes that coordinate with this meat dish on the blog post that accompanies this video. You can find that link down in the description box below. If you'd like to check out some of our other cooking tutorials, you can tap on the screen right now. And if you want to see what we're eating on a daily basis, you can find me on Instagram at Pepper and Pine.